Whoops. Looks like I made a mistake. I hit the wrong button. So I'm gonna add this. I'm gonna try to add this with this episode. If not, it'll be an extension to the next one. So I have to apologize for that. Yeah, I got a couple more left, to be honest. It'll be actually both from naturalnews.com, and it came out. This one came out September 9th. It's entitled "Number of Ebola Cases is Increasing Exponentially. World Health Organization Warns." This was written by Ethan A. Huff, staff writer, and as it reads, the Ebola crisis has taken a major turn for the worse as the World Health Organization announces that the number of infected individuals is now increasing exponentially. The uptick is particularly concerning in Liberia, where the international agency says its worst is yet to come. Among 4,269 known cases of Ebola in West Africa, nearly 2,300 and a little over half have resulted in death. And roughly half of these deaths have occurred in Liberia, according to the United Nations, with the rest reportedly hailing from nearby Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Nigeria. In a recent amount, WHO warned that the numbers appeared to show an exponential increase in infections across West Africa, and that things will get worse before getting better, underscoring the unusual spread of the disease. Expert says Ebola is particularly problematic in the larger cities, and especially in those where the public health facilities are lacking. But the situation is most extreme in Liberia, where entire communities are facing rapid infection due to poor containment measures and a lack of medical personnel, according to data compiled by HWO. 202 health workers in Liberia are known to have contracted Ebola, and 79 of them have already died. Liberia is already lacking an adequate medical personnel prior to the outbreak, with only about one doctor available for every 100,000 people. In a country of 4.4 million people, this is a major problem, especially as the death tolls mount and affected individuals have nowhere to turn for treatment and quarantine. Transmission of the Ebola virus in Liberia is already intense, and the number of new cases is increasingly exponentially, reads a harrowing statement recently issued by HWO. In Monrovia, taxis filled with entire families, of whom some numbers are thought to be infected with the Ebola virus, crisscross the city, searching for a treatment bed. There are none, as HWO staff in Liberia confirm no free beds for Ebola treatments exist anywhere in the country. Nutrition, not ZMAP, like cured American doctors infected with Ebola. WHO officials are aiming completely to stop the spread of Ebola in Senegal and Nigeria, where infection rates are still relatively small, but the agency is urging aid organizations both locally and internationally to take further action in Liberia. In its announcement, HWO warned that aid groups in Liberia will need to prepare to scale up their current efforts by 3 to 4-fold in order to control the spread of Ebola. At this point, the return of infected individuals to respective villages threatens to spark flare-ups that in the immediate future will likely lead to massive spikes of infection. As far as 3 American healthcare workers who returned to the States for treatment, the 2 who received experimental ZMAP are reportedly recovering, but experts say ZMAP may not have been responsible for this, as both patients received high-dose intravenous nutrition and carefully monitored fluid replacement therapy. These interventions amid workers at Emory University Hospital in Atlanta, where the couple was treated, are more likely the real cure, the one that will be difficult to administer in South Africa, especially as already inadequate infrastructure there is pressed beyond its limits. The Ebola outbreak has just driven home in inadequacy that there's, stated Dr. Barbara Kurz, team leader of the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. Ebola Response Unit before a recent meeting at the American Society of Microbiology. Learn more about natural defenses against viral outbreaks at biodefense.com. I'm going to actually add that to my memo. I'm going to save this one, to be very honest. Very, very interesting. And let's check this out, the biodefense.com. Oh, it's nothing, huh? Okay. We have to find out how. That's not a problem. Yep, they say nutrition is healthy, my friends, and that's why I always recommend that to everybody. I've been stressing this, and even I'm trying to handle this myself as well. So, yeah, because a lot of stuff has been going on, and I know we cannot live out of fear, but awareness. All right, so I'll pray for those people out there over there as well. You know, and I got some followers that listen to the show and that live in Nigeria. So, you folks out there, please take care of yourselves and your family. Stay healthy, the best of your ability. All right. Okay, I'm gonna do one more here. Same thing from Natural News. This came out today by David Gutierrez. It's entitled "Massive Radiation Plume from Fukushima Heading Toward U.S. West Coast," according to a scientific report. Okay, it says here, according to a scientific modeling system by the European Union, the radioactive ocean plume released by the 2011 Fukushima nuclear disaster is likely to remain a massive clump of radioactivity until it slams into the west coast of the United States in late 2017. Good grief. Okay, so the clump. Alright, okay. In March 11, 2011, a massive earthquake and tsunami struck Japan, knocking down power and cooling capability to the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant. Within 3 days, nuclear meltdowns and reactor explosions had taken place. By March 25th, massive amounts of radioactive material were observed leaking directly into the Pacific Ocean. In 2013, the NASA Environmental and Remote Sensing Center in Norway used computer models to project the movement and dispersion of this radioactive plume. Although the results to have this study have been cited in official Chinese government documents, they have not been widely publicized. Okay, levels to remain high through at least 2026. The researchers used separate scenarios to model leakage of radioactivity from the Fukushima plant into the Pacific. The first scenario assumed continuous and constant leakage for 20 days, while the second assumed continuous and constant leakage for the 1 year. Although delivering differing estimates of total radiation, both models concluded that the pollution would remain in a relatively unified mass and take the same path across the ocean until crashing up against western North America. Both models showed a plume colliding with the U.S. coast and beginning to spread out starting around late 2017. The maximum concentration of radiation hitting the coast toward the end of 2018. Following the collision, the plume is projected to disperse and spread north, south, and west, with portions of eventually crashing back into East Asia sometime between 2021 and 2026. Through this entire time period, however, the area of greatest radioactivity concentration will remain positioned along North America's west coast. The researchers noted that the model does have certain limits, namely its failure to account for ocean ecology, which may alter the flow of radioactive material and atmospheric fallout, which may increase the concentration of radioactive material in additional regions to those predicted by the model. The cleanup efforts in shambles. More than 3 years after the disaster, Fukushima plant remained crippled, contaminated, and uncontained. Massive amounts of radioactive water continued to pile up at the plant and leak into the surrounding earth and ocean. Thus far, all plans by plant operator Tokyo Electric Power Company, TEPCO, to stem flow of this water by freezing the ground surrounding the plant have failed. More than 120,000 people evacuated from the area in 2011 are still unable to return to their homes, and criminal gangs have infiltrated cleanup operations. Oh, interesting. In recent weeks, TEPCO has also been hit with a number of legal setbacks. A court ordered the company to pay nearly $500,000 to a family of a woman who committed suicide just 2 months after being forcibly evacuated from her home near Fukushima. In August, a citizens' judicial panel called the 3 former TEPCO executives to be prosecuted for their role in the disaster. TEPCO is also being sued by 4 workers seeking $600,000 in unpaid wages from their work in the plant's cleanup and decommissioning operations. A year ago, the Prime Minister told the world that Fukushima was under control, but that's not the case, said Tsuyoshi Hirota, lawyer for the plaintiffs. Workers are not getting promised hazard pay, and skilled workers are leaving. It's becoming a place for amateurs only, and that has to worry anyone who lives near the plant. Wow. They got plenty of other sources, too. Wow. Now, one thing I always question, why the hell are you going to have a nuclear power plants along the fault line? And I've been in Japan, too, for did a tour there for a week, and I can say this, when it comes to earthquakes, that's a very active area. Unfortunately, I wasn't in the worst ones like what happened a few years ago. But this is will really affect the ecosystem in the whole Pacific coastline. So people living out there gotta really pay attention. So, and especially with the radiation, because right now the whole area is glowing, especially around Alaska. There's been cases of Alaska, I don't know, allegations about the seals are dying, they're losing their hair. So that's really disturbing, it pisses me off. And I hope those bastards, it's like a big hot potato game too. All these lawsuits and so forth, and people being arrested. Yeah, that'll be fine, but you gotta think about the environment in that Pacific area, or the whole Pacific area. So that's how it goes, man. I don't like it at all. But I'd like to thank everyone for listening, and I do apologize because, like I said, I unintentionally turned it off. I should have paused it. You can smack me later. But if you got any comments, recommendations, send your information. You can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, and I said Google Plus, YouTube, Tumblr, Spreaker, iHeartRadio. Just to give you a few. All right, and once again, it's a pleasure to do these shows with you guys. Finally, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate societies. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.